Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back, ironically, to another episode of Radioactive Curry. Today we are reviewing Goa Gone. It is a 2013 movie. Oh, God. Oh, man. Hindi.
Somebody took the red rug. Somebody took the red rug.
Oh, man.
Bring off.
Yeah. And I thought I was bad.
This is, to be fair, for our audience, this is our second take on this because our host, which is me, sadly, forgot to hit record. So we're going to review this movie. And hopefully it's as good this time as it was last time, or even better. So Goa Gone. It is a comedy, stoner comedy, along the lines of The Hangover, Beavis and Butthead, Harold and Kumar. Three buddies get invited to an island party thrown by the Russian mafia, and they give out tainted drugs that turn people into flesh-eating zombies. Calamity ensues. There's blood, guts, love, drugs,
and Boris.
rave music.
Boris.
And Boris.
Blonde and bullets.
Badass Boris.
Badass Boris. He's a funny guy.
Badass Boris.
I love this. I had fun with this one. It was a good time. You know what I mean? Our first review, I tried to join our buddies and get into the same mindset they were in the movie, as you could tell by my beautiful fuzzy eyes. But
he's at the Goa part right now.
I'm right there. I'm ready to go. But there was so many good scenes in this movie. Like I've sent it out to people to watch. They've loved it. You know what I mean? Like the last week's one they loved more, but this one they were like, this is fun. This is funny. I want this soundtrack. That's number one, dude. Like I got to get the soundtrack, and of course my girl Luna. I'm thinking of you, girl. You're my new girlfriend right there, dude. I'm telling you. And we found out the Comic Lizard has shown us that the new one is coming this coming year. So please send us a copy. We'll review it. We'll do whatever. But we have to go see. We have to see what happens. Yes, we need to. We'll figure it out, dude, because we're becoming junkies for these movies, and this was a fun one. Like, this was a fun one. But no one beats Boris. I am his number one fan. That's what it says right there in the writing. I am his number one fan. Boris is my man, and Luna is my girl, and my homie is gonna be Bunny, dude. Bunny's my man, dude. Like, he figured it out, dude. You know what I mean? He had to play dead, but then when he woke up and everyone was coked out and there's a running theme there.
Don't do drugs.
Cocaine zombie, cocaine bear. I don't know, man. I think that's a sign that all of us should stop doing booger sugar.
Never started,
sugar.
Fuzz.
Well, hey, I don't do it no more. I haven't done that since 1987. But like, I'll tell you this. I was like, there's every once in a while you go out and there's people. You know, I'm gonna literally pull out this movie and be like, look what happened. You see what happened? Look what it did to this bear. Look at that. No.
Look what it did to this bear.
Okay. Yeah, I liked it. What about you, Lizard? What did you think?
Dude, I mean, it's so funny because then we have to remember everything that I said before.
I tried to sum it up.
Mark.
I tried to sum it up.
From this from this encounter. No, well, that's like the running line too. Boris and his I kill people. I kill good people. And then, like, yeah, and then Bunny he's my favorite too. And it's one of those situations where he's just like, he's the good buddy that, like I said, the Jiminy Cricket that sits on your shoulder. He's the conscience of the movie. And, you know, okay, so now what have we learned? And then there's always like the the moral of the story after each situation. Okay, they aren't vampires because they haven't exploded. And then when they're on the boat going back, you know, he's just like, okay, don't do drugs. Like, that's like what he's learned. That was like the more, it's like the G.I. Joe, the more you know kind of thing, the more you know. Like, all of that. It was so good. But, like, my thing is that I thought I was proud of myself when I found the little zombie Easter egg throwback to at the 54-minute mark, guys. If you find it here on YouTube, because you got to go digging for it. But at the 54-minute mark, there's a little homage there to all of the American zombie-like characters. It was kind of cool. You got Ash from Evil Dead. You got Shaun from Shaun of the Dead. I can't remember what her name is, but it's the remake from, is it Dawn of the Dead or Night of the Living Dead? I can't remember. The one where they all end up in the mall and they've got like the
Dawn of the Dead
baby and all that.
Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead. Okay. Yeah, she's in there, and I didn't. You can't, when you pause on our TV, it goes kind of dark, so you can't see who the other, like, 3 or 4 people, but I have no doubt that there's some kind of
It's probably an entourage,
throwback homage to all of the different characters from those movies and stuff. But this movie is fantastic. I have to send the link to my dad, because this is another one of those movies that my dad would call me up at like midnight. Hey, this is the absolute worst movie you could possibly see on TV right now, but it's so good. You know what I mean? It's like one of those worst movie type things. This is a really good movie. It's got the Harold and Kumar meet Shaun of the Dead, and it's just enough gore for me. Anything more than this, I'd be like, oh, God, I can't watch this. But it's a lot of fun, and the makeup was cool, and the more I think about the dialogue and the things that happen with these guys, it's fantastic. Like when they're when they're pretending to be zombies to go through like the rave people because they got to get through everybody.
You're trying to bust that Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, and he looks over at his girlfriend. He's like, here, I can't even remember what her name is. And she's like, and then he's like, fucker, like, it's like when he calls her the boyfriend, and then they all like turn over and look at him. He's just like, ah! They just start running through it. It was so good. Because I forgot that she was supposed to be going to that party or whatever. It just, man, there's just so many good things, and the pacing on this was fun too. You know, it was just good.
Yeah, I think it was an entertaining film, and it certainly did have a lot of those vibes of a lot of the comedy horror classics that we've gotten used to, especially Shaun of the Dead and Evil Dead, things like that. But the thing for me that really puts it into the great category is Boris himself. The fact that they got an Indian man to play a Russian mobster is just chef's kiss. It's fantastic. And I've said it before, but you know, we've lost the ability to have this kind of humor in the West. You know, if we did a film like this, half of our country would come unhinged. We haven't had this kind of comedy since Tropic Thunder with Robert Downey Jr. You know, we're in this movie, we're literally watching a guy do whiteface, but I don't care. It was hilarious. It was great. I'm not offended at all. I think to me that's the crowning achievement of this movie, is that they they want to take their humor to that level, and I applaud them for it.
Yeah, but the funny thing is that Boris is actually, like, the character, he's actually Indian, but he had to pretend to be Russian to get into the mafia.
Yeah, like it's a part of the character, you know, like they call it out, like, you know what I mean, like that, just like you said in Tropic Thunder, like they call it out. Yeah. So it's like that's what's funny about it, like, you know, like you're just like,
that's the big breath of fresh air with all of these movies. Mm-hmm. It is when, you know, I've seen lots of movies and lots of shows this week. You know, we've all got our assignments to digest our pop culture just for this interaction that we have once a week. And I'm finding that when we're doing these Indian things, I don't ever feel like I'm being scolded for being any kind of ism or ist or anything like that. And I just go in there and have an honest to goodness, you know, fresh, fun take on movies. And I'm not having some kind of privileged wave to my face. And on top of that, if there was someone who would have the right to waive our privilege in our face as Westerners, it would be people who are walking barefooted to alligator-infested sewage water to get their drinking water every day. But they don't even have any message to. They're not trying to rub our face in our prosperity. They're just telling good stories.
Yeah.
And they're stories that everybody can relate to. And there's protagonist, antagonist, everyone in between. And I didn't say this last time, Luna at the pool, okay? She is not a waif, but she's also not like Lizzo. They're not trying to say a big is beautiful and shove that down your throat. No, she's not bone skinny. She's
gorgeous.
Right?
She's got all the curves in all the right places.
Right, and it's not
classic beauty.
She's not overdone with makeup, and she spends half the movie out of makeup. You know what I mean? And the one shot you get is just that scene you said, like where she's in the pool. You know what I mean? And she's delivering the jokes. You know what I mean? She's delivering the jokes. So it's like you're like, okay, cool. Like she's not the butt of the jokes, and like even the whole thing of her figuring out, like calling him out before he was even able to say why him and his boys were there on the island when he's trying to lean in to give her a kiss. Like, you know, she's not like, fuck you, pig, you know, like this kind of thing. She's just like, hey, dude, I'm not dumb. Like, you know, like, I know what you guys are doing. Like, you know, like, she's a smart girl, but she's not like, you know, fuck you guys and kind of thing. Like, she's that's when dude, I'm telling you, this is from the fuster's mouth himself. I've been out on dates when I was young like that. And that happened to me word for word, where a girl would just catch you in your game, and you're just like, fuck. All right, dude. You know, and then some of them became some of my best friends. Like, it's like he called me out. All right, dude, we can hang out, dude.
She's literally hanging out. She's one of the guys, but she hasn't lost any of her femininity. Like, she doesn't have to be. She doesn't have to be sleeping with one of them. She doesn't have to have any romantic interest in any of them. But she can hold her own. But at the same time, she got beat up too. You know, she couldn't. It's not like she just went in there and just started like shooting guns and swinging things around and just doing whatever. I mean, she had to learn. It shows like a learning curve process. But at the same time, yeah, she was smart about it. She goes, wait. When she calls Boris out, wait, you went back to go get your cocaine? He's like, you know how much this is worth? Like,
no.
Like, what do you mean? And she's just like, ugh, you know what I mean? Like a typical like girl response. She didn't preach to them. I can't believe, you know what I mean? Like what we would see here. She's just like, fuck it, you know? Just like moved on, and she's just like, yeah.
Well, even Boris though, too, when you're talking about the shooting and like her having to work her way up, it's like the two main characters, right? When they were like, you know how to shoot? He's like, yeah, I'm fucking number one. I'm fucking PlayStation 3 of Call of Duty. And like, you know, like this and that. And he gives him the gun. He's explaining to him again, like, what? Because I've always said that, like in zombie movies and stuff, like how precious a fucking bullet would be. You know what I mean? Like how, and he's telling him word for word that he's like, look, every one of these is only one bullet, and they're unloading on the guy, and he's like, what the fuck do we just talk about, dude?
I was talking about it with Miles, how the zombies move slow and the bullets are precious. They're coming at you slow enough to where you could probably try to get your one bullet lined up to go through a couple heads just in one shot.
I'm sure after a while of doing it for a long time, you probably could do that, but I'm telling you, I've done that thing. You know, you've seen that thing that Keanu Reeves does where he's training for John Wick and he's running around, the targets pop up all around you and stuff like that. They had one of those in Vegas, and I did it, dude. Let me tell you, I watched a bunch of people before me. I don't want to be around anybody like that. In movies don't depict what it would really look like with people with guns, like shoot things. That's why I get a kick out of some of these things. I'm like, please, dude. Like, but again, this one, the whole movie, we were like, I don't care. I'm on the ride. Like, you know, this is a fun one. You know, they're taking it seriously. Like, it was just just like we were saying about Boris and him playing, you know, fucking whiteface. Like, they call it out in the movie. That's how, like, they were playing it. Like, they were like, look, we're having fun, dude. We're on an island. Drugs are turning people into zombies, dude. Like, come on. And then this is the only zombie movie I've seen where they had a weakness besides shooting them in the head. Yeah, it was cocaine. cocaine's a hell of a drug, ladies and gentlemen. Dude. So if one thing, just like our boy Bunny says, don't do drugs. Except weed. Weed's good for you.
All right, you guys ready to get into the buckets?
Yes, sir. The curry.
Let's do it. Oh, the curry. The curry. How spicy was your curry, Fuzzy?
I'm giving it a 7, and it's not because it's bad or anything like that. It's just, you know, I think the two main characters I just didn't care too much for them. I cared for the side characters more. I love the side characters. Again, I'm Boris's #1 fan. So, like, you know, I can't wait to see this new one that's going to be coming out. So I'm giving it a 7 just because it is something fun to watch. You know, there's nothing bad about it. Like, I can't say like this part was terrible. The only thing I don't like are the two main characters. So to me, you lose a lot of points for that because you have to make me care about the main characters. So, and especially compared to last week's movie, you know, last week's movie I was all in for, dude. And then RRR, you got two main characters. I was even cheering for the bad guy of the movie. You know what I mean? Like, you know. So that's what I mean. Like, so a 7 for me.
Nice, Josh.
Yeah, I'm not going to be too far off from where the Fuzzster is at. This movie isn't an epic film. It's a comedy. It's hard to rate comedies very high because there's nothing in it that has a lot of gravity to it. You're not you're entertained but not emotionally invested. And so I was thinking to give it a 7, but what put it over the top was Boris. Boris makes this film a solid 8. It's definitely worth it, and the fact that they can do whiteface on this guy and still make him entertaining and have it be self-effacing at the same time, it's a good job. It's well worth your time to watch.
Nice.
Yeah, I agree with Josh. Well, not for the Boris reason, but it's an 8 for me too. I mean, it's a good story. It's a fun story. It's got the rewatchable quality. Like, this is a popcorn movie. I don't eat popcorn, but if this was this is a popcorn movie. This is one of those ones that you go and you watch and you enjoy and you have fun doing it. Like, you don't have to think hard or it just comes naturally. It's just a naturally pacing, fun movie that you can, you know, watch over and over. I mean, I'll watch the other ones too, but it's a time constraint to watch the other ones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This one isn't. This is still got all of the fun, entertainment quality stuff in it without, again, fun characters. Bunny's my favorite. But yeah, it gets an 8 for me. And I gotta definitely send this link to my dad because he's gonna like this one.
I gotta get out there and visit your dad. I haven't been out there in a while.
Yeah, send him the link.
We'll
make him watch
it.
it on the store like TV.
All right, for me, the movie's a 7. It didn't break any ground, but I did like it because it wasn't in English, but they still were able to cross over with the comedy. And you know, sometimes when there's a different language, the strings don't cross right when it's happening. But I think that also something about the fact that India was a colony and that a lot of them speak English and understand English, that there's a crossover with the vocabulary, even if it isn't English, the vibe that we have, sarcasm, humor, like those things are crossing over for them. Whereas something in like, in Asian cinema, for instance, it doesn't happen.
Right.
You know, it's missing. It's missing in Asian cinema. It doesn't cross over well. It's got its own kind of sense of humor, and it's a little bit different. It still works. It still works, and the action is still working. The adventure is still working. The comedy is still working. What would you say the movie was last week? And Hadhoon, was that a suspense?
Like
suspense
Battler.
comedy thriller.
Yeah. That I last week's movie I said we were saying it was like Snatch and Pulp Fiction, like, you know, for the Westerners, like that's what it was. It was like their version, and it had really, it was just these. The reason why we say it is because there's all these stories that come together to make this one big story, and then, you know, giving us the usual suspect kind of fucking ending and shit like that, dude. Like I'm, you know, people I know I gave that to, watched it 2-3 times. And same thing they were saying about this one, like they really enjoyed it. Like I'm telling you, their movies are gonna start getting more popular because of us, because we're sitting here watching these things and we're passing them along to so many people. We're like, have you seen this thing, dude? Like, you gotta watch this shit, dude. Like, it's good.
Yeah, I'm hoping so.
Bring them over and have them do a convention. Come on, man.
Oh yeah, dude.
And do bring those actors over here, because it'd be fun to talk to them and
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, but like I said, there's 1.4 billion of those guys, and there's not even the 0.4 billion of us.
Right.
So maybe we got a spring to go to BaliCon. We have like a little booth at BaliCon.
That would be dope. I would so do it.
Yeah, man. I'm in. Let's do this.
Okay, I just want to go. My favorite scene. I knew I wanted to watch this movie from the get-go because the boys are on the couch, sitting there, lighting one up, and then this comes on.
You didn't even get to the best part with the dance.
Yeah, but I have the whole thing, so I didn't edit it properly. That was a moment of funny spontaneity.
Like the whole Michael Jackson Thriller dance.
No, they don't.
Oh man.
They don't.
As soon as when I started the movie, you know, that's how it starts. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go fire one up and get on the same level as these motherfuckers, dude, because I already know where this is going. You know what I mean?
I like how they said, "Well, you're closer to the remote." No, I did this, or I did, and then they're like, and then it shows like the overview, and it shows the remote, and they circle it with like a red circle. So it's literally right there in between them. So.
And it's an equal distance between all of them.
Yeah, it was so good. Well, I paid for the bill, or I paid for this. Where'd you get all this money for all of this stuff? Oh, I had like this amount of money. And then Buddy's like, and then you realize there's a third guy. Buddy's like, wait, you mean the money I gave you for the power? And then it goes off. You're like, yeah.
He says, check the fuse. Check the fuse. The fuse hasn't been cut, you idiot.
I don't want to get up. You check the fuses. No, you check the fuses. They're closer to the fuses. They just changed the subject.
Yeah.
I want it. I want part 2. We can all hope for it. So if you
got
those of you watching this, if you have, if you know what happened to the movie, why is it taking like 10 years to come up with a sequel for this? Why is it tied up? We really want to know. We want more Bunny. We want more. What was
Luna.
Dick?
Arctic.
Luna.
Arctic. We want more Hard Dick.
You know,
we want more Luna. We want more Hard Dick.
The first 20 minutes of this movie, they kept calling him Love, and I forgot that was his name. I'm like, wow, like, okay, everybody just, I thought it was like, bro. You know what I mean? Hey, bro. Like, and then I realized, oh, wait, that's his name. I forgot about that. Love. I'm like, wow, okay, everybody just, sorry. Got
You
confused.
just line them up together in a line. You can be like, Luna love Hard Dick.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
No, you
Thanks
put
for
Boris
watching,
in the
folks.
front.
Oh,
Boris, Luna
real horror.
loves dick.
Real horror next week. Tombad. TAMBBAD.
Tombad.
I think it's free. It's dubbed, but it is scary. But it's not gory. But it's good. Scary, not gory, but good. Not swords and sandals. An individual story. Doesn't have a cliffhanger. Doesn't lead off into another thing.
I'll watch one more Sand and Swords and one before fucking the end of the year. I promise you. I'll do that for you guys. But
we got like 11 days.
well, you know, whatever, dude. I'm just saying, like, I'll do this horror one, but if I know some of you, I love those sandals and swords, and I will put myself through some of them, but just please make them like RRR or something dope like that, dude. Like, you know, like I'll sit through that. Like, I like shit like that.
All right, fellas, check us out.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's have some love, some peace, and some chicken grease. Woo!
Next week. Thanks for watching, moviegoers. If you like this review or you have an idea of any other movie for us to review, please leave a comment below. And if you do like the channel, please get a chance to subscribe here. We have our playlist for Radioactive Curry here and a video for you here.